Hey everybody, welcome back to Rachel Reads. My name is Rachel. I love to read and write Christian fiction, and today is just going to kind of be a chatty video. I am specifically reviewing a book. I don't currently have a copy of that book, but I'm going to be talking about it and reviewing it. I want to say this is my first full book review on just one book. Whenever I talk about books on my channel, especially if I've finished that book, I do try to review it and give content, unless it's maybe a tag when I'm just going over them. But I just decided, because I love this book and this author so much, I would review the entire book and give my thoughts on it, why you definitely should read it. If this isn't your type of book, I totally understand, but at the same time, I would recommend trying it out because I just really love it and I think it's amazing. And I'll talk about what I'm reading and writing because I do have a lot more writing updates than reading updates because I am filming a vlog, so I won't talk too much about my reading. But let's get started with the book review. So the book I will be reviewing today is The Nightmare Virus by Nadine Brandes. So some of you may be asking, what genre is The Nightmare Virus? Well, The Nightmare Virus is Christian, science fantasy, post-apocalyptic with a little bit of romance. The one way the author has marketed it is she has named it as a Inception meets Gladiator meets Ready Player One, and I've seen all of those movies and they're all pretty good. I did watch them with a filter. So now that you know the genre and what it's like, I'm going to give you the synopsis based off what I remember because I don't have it right in front of me. The Nightmare Virus is an infection that has been on Earth for a while. I'm not for sure of the exact date. And you only have so long to live. But what happens is you go to sleep and it just kind of builds up. Well, Cain and his brother Noel are trying to stop this, except Noel is infected. We find this out in chapter 1, so I'm not going to spoil anything. Everything that I'm going to tell you happens pretty much in chapter 1 and some basics. So yeah. So Noel and his brother Cain are trying to figure out what the cure is, how to stop this nightmare virus from getting people, because people are dying. And yes, they have some time left, but it's not enough. They are dying and they're trying to figure out a way to stop this. Well, Cain ends up exploring the nightmare world and so many things go on from there. I'm not going to say too much more about the direct plot because that is a lot of spoilers, including my favorite character. Obviously Cain is my favorite, but my favorite character that's not the main character, I cannot mention because that character is a spoiler. I'm like so sad that I can't talk about it. But I'm super excited for you to read this book. So, and if you have any questions in the comments about more of the plot, the full plot will hopefully be in the description. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I will be happy to answer any questions. Just try to avoid spoilers because I really want to keep the surprise of this book in front of you. I loved it. So, by the cover, I don't know how well you can see it, but you can kind of see a little bit of gladiator ring and their spire, but there's also a bit of the real world around. I'm going to talk about content really quickly because there's not too much to note in my personal opinion. Obviously everyone has different trigger warnings, so I'm just going to talk about that really quickly. So there is the H word used once, but it is used in a literal context because I believe this Cain is comparing something to being like that place, so he was using it literally. There is a bit more violence in this book, but that is because it is, like I said, gladiator style. So if you can imagine that, I do want to let you know it didn't bother me because of the way and the themes in this book, which I can't wait to talk about. And for any romance content, I don't think there was much to note. There may have been one kiss, but in my content, I didn't write any of that down, so I don't think there was any. But it's extremely clean in that area. Now I'm going to move on to different parts that I just really loved and more of my review. So, things I loved. Besides the unmentionable character, I love that character. But Cain is really different. He is different from most of Nadine Brandes' characters. He's very snarky and sarcastic. He has, I don't want to say an attitude to him, but he is like very off the cuff. He'll kind of like in a joking way, but also just funny. I laughed at some of his comments, but he was also a very dynamic character because of certain beliefs he has and just the way he changed, and that was just impactful. I love seeing his character arc as he went from the beginning of the book to the end, and how his worldview changed and how he saw things really did change. I also loved at the end of the book, there's a certain thing we learn about that is just beautiful. I really love it, but again, it's a spoiler. So another aspect I love that I really love talking about is the faith content. The faith content in this book is beautiful. So there is the real world, but there's also the nightmare world, which is called Tenebra, and we learn a lot about both worlds. So in the real world, there's obviously God, and Cain really does struggle with that, and there's a lot talked about in the faith content. But in the nightmare virus, God is also there because they are still like humans, and when you read it you do understand, but there is still God. But there's even like an allegory in the nightmare world that was amazing. There was such a call to light and truth and just, you know, following the light. There's just a lot of quotes in here that I like, and there are different things about light and just trying to find that light and follow that light. There are just so many things that I could talk about. Like there's an aspect I talked about already, but it does come in the later part of the book that is just so special, and it really did just, I don't know, it was just so inspiring and so special. And the villain had just a lot of depth and just so much meaning, and it was just really cool to see the ending. It wasn't as open ending as Witcher is, so if you're worried about that, don't be. It's not that bad. It's not that open ended, but even then there are so many questions I had that are just so special. It's just, I can't find like good enough words to describe this book because there are so many things that I love between Cain and his character dynamic, or between the allegory in the nightmare world, but also Cain's journey. If I haven't convinced you to read this book already, you need to. It is just so good. Again, if you have any questions about it, please leave them in the comments. I really just want to get this book out there. I really do love it. There are just so many different things that were just so amazing, between the coming out of the darkness or following the light, seeing what's true, putting our roots where they belong. There are just so many lessons in this book that were just beautiful. So I do recommend this book. Now for what I'm reading. I'm not going to talk about it much because it is going to be part of a vlog. I'm not for sure if it's out already, but I am reading Never Let Go by Elizabeth Goddard. This is a romantic suspense. It has a second chance romance trope, and it has to do with genealogy and a kidnapped baby. So if that interests you, maybe pick it up. I'm not done with it yet, but it is pretty good. For that same vlog, I'm also reading Pearl in the Sand by Tessa Afshar. This is a continuation of Rahab's story, as well as some of her beginning, a little bit of what we get in the Bible, but really most of it is just past that, and I've enjoyed it a lot. You'll see it in the vlog. It's a really special vlog because my sister does have to do with it. I'm enjoying it. It's been really clean so far, and I'm super excited to continue. And for writing updates, this is the notebook I write in. I am doing surprisingly well. I don't want to say I'm doing well with it. I've just been able to push on and to continue writing. It's been really amazing. I haven't written in so long that just having so many things written down already, I don't know, I just like seeing that there's a story here, and I know God can use this story to inspire even just one person, and really that's what matters. So that is all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope God bless you today, and I'll see you next time. Bye!